So let's take a look at generator Angular. Previously we used Angular to create our project, but now we're going to use put a colon on the end, and we can create a factory, and we'll call it a foo factory, and press enter, and it's going to generate some files. Okay, so that created a services directory in our scripts folder, and it also created a services directory in our test folder, and foo tests here, and here we've got our foo service, or our foo factory, and what this is doing is creating a local variable 42, and then creating a public accessor called some method, and setting it equal to be meaning of life. And here we just have the boilerplate for our tests. So if we do comma start, now this test should pass. So we now have 2 successful tests running, and here this boilerplate is getting hold of, it's injecting the foo factory, setting it equal to the variable foo here, and from there we can access it in our test, and this before each is run before each test. So we should be able to add another test, and let's say some method should return 42. We can break the test by setting meaning of life to equal 41, and expect foo dot some method to be 42. Save this and save this, and one of our tests fails because it expected 41 to be 42, so set this back to 42, and our test passes. So we've got 3 tests passing, and we can do the same thing to create controllers. So let's create a bar controller, and sorry, that was a factory, so I'm going to do a controller, and so there it's created a bar controller here. Again, it's creating these awesome things, and if I look in my specs, I've now got, with my main controller, I've got a bar controller, and again the before each is taking hold of the creating a controller, and the root scope, using root scope to create a new scope, assigning that to scope, and then in our specs we can get hold of these things and check that the length of awesome things is 3. So let's test that, and we've got 5 tests working. Okay, and we can create a directive. So call this a hello directive, And so let's look in our directives directory in the scripts folder, and this is creating an element, and then it's getting hold of that element and inserting the text. This is the hello directive. So if we go into our index HTML and we create a tag above our ng view, and we call it hello, and we save that, and we fire up our server. We should see this text appearing somewhere on our page. So there we've got, this is a hello directive appearing there. And let's have a look at the test for this. So we've now got a directives folder in our test, and this boilerplate is getting hold of the scope for us. Here we're creating a hello tag and compiling it, and then we expect the text of that tag to be, this is the hello directive, and that test will hopefully pass. So 6 tests, and the third thing that we can do, or the next thing we can do is create a root, and we can do yo angular and so a goodbye root. And this created several things. It created a goodbye controller, and it created a test in the goodbye test. In our views folder, it created the goodbye view. And if we look in app.js, it added a root in here for goodbye. And the way the router works basically is that if we go to index, and we've got this element here which has an ng view directive, and basically this is going to display the contents of whatever view file is defined in our router, which we find in app.js. So here in app.js it says look for views/goodbye HTML, and we go into views goodbye HTML and we see this, and so we're expecting if we rerun our server here, come start. Oh, the test passed. Let's do grunt serve. Okay. And let's have a look here. So if we go to, oh, hang on, yep. If we go to the root goodbye, we expect to see just a paragraph there saying this is the goodbye view. And so that's how we can use Generator Angular to create boilerplate for our directives, services, values, and roots and things like that. You may want to move things about after you've created it just quite helpful if you're beginning in Angular to see how each of these things should be structured, and how to get hold of values from each of these when you want to start writing unit tests.